What is going on? What is poppin' YouTube world? My name is Ghiman Mckinney, or you can just call me Juice because that is my nickname. I appreciate you guys for watching today. Be sure to smash this like button right about now, as it does help these videos get out to the public and my channel to grow overall. Subscribe to my channel if you're new as well. I do post a ton of great sports videos weekly, and I post every single day if I can, and turn on post notifications too, so you do not miss a single one of those videos that I post. It's only right, you guys. So the Saints last night on Thanksgiving beat the Atlanta Falcons, and they clinched the NFC South Division. And I want to talk about the Saints. I want to talk about Drew Brees potentially can win another Super Bowl ring. I want to talk about this team's Super Bowl likability. Can they get the 1 seed? Just the overall picture for the Saints and how I feel about them as a team. But before I do start that, I want to actually apologize to Saints Nation. I said in the offseason that the Carolina Panthers will win this division and that this team would miss the playoffs. And they've done nothing but prove me wrong time and time again. And you guys can go back and look. You can type in Juice Alert Saints will miss the playoffs and you'll find the video. But the reason why I felt the Saints would miss the playoffs was because last year the division was terrible. Atlanta had injuries. Obviously Cam Newton went down, and Jameis Winston, he's Jameis Winston, okay? Last year, the Saints had a lot of injury luck that went their way. They had an easy schedule last year. They went 7-1 on the road last year. The defense, I thought, played above their heads, and they won a lot of close games. And I just felt that the way the Saints lost, especially the last 2 years, that's something that can break up a team. The way you saw with Matt Ryan and the Falcons, the way they lost in that Super Bowl, they've never recovered ever since. The fact that the Saints got robbed of a Super Bowl opportunity. And by the way, I made a video talking about how the Saints, in my opinion, I don't think they got robbed because they got the ball back in overtime. But again, that's not here what we're talking about, okay? That type of loss can carry into the next year and really just break up and break down a team emotionally. And I gotta credit the Saints. You know, they bounced back, and Drew Brees even got hurt this year, and they went 5-0 without Drew Brees. It's crazy. And that just goes to show you how good this Saints team is. And I'm gonna get to that right now. This Saints team is loaded with talent. Okay, they're easily a top 5 team in football right now. Obviously, you got Drew Brees. I do think Drew Brees is still at least a borderline elite quarterback. He's a really good quarterback. Probably in the top 5, one of the top 5 or 7 quarterbacks right now. Drew Brees is still really, really good. He's having a great season. The running game, Latavius Murray. You know, I really felt the Saints, that's one of the other reasons why I thought they would miss the playoffs, was the fact that Mark Ingram was really good for that team last year. Latavius Murray has really picked up the slack. You know, Alvin Kamara, he's one of the 5 best running backs in football. So running game, elite. Offensive line, one of the 5 best offensive lines in all football. They arguably have the best tackle tandem in football between their right tackle and left tackle. Great offensive line. Defense. The defense can be pushed around at times a little bit. You know, what I mean by that is if you have a good quarterback, you can move the football. Versus the Saints. The Saints will at least bend at times on defense. But their defensive line is really, really good. Cameron Jordan, Marcus Davenport, really good defensive tackles. They have 4 first-round picks on that defensive line. The linebackers, Demario Davis, he's pretty good. No one talks about him, but he's pretty good. The secondary. I do worry about Eli Apple. I know Eli Apple is having a solid year, but Eli Apple is really inconsistent in my opinion. He's a good cornerback, but at times he looks lost. Marshawn Lattimore, I got no questions about him when he's healthy, okay? So secondary, pretty good, but still a little bit of questions there. The wide receiver core. This is why I'm hit and miss with this group. And you can make the argument that Michael Thomas might be the best wide receiver in football this year. Michael Thomas, you can make the argument, he's in the MVP conversation. Right now, Michael Thomas is on pace to break Marvin Harrison's reception record for an entire season. Michael Thomas is a beast. I mean, he's one of the 5 best wide receivers in football, easily. Jared Cook, that was a great picker for the Saints. The Saints did not have a really good tight end last year. Jared Cook definitely helps this team. He got to a slow start, but Jared Cook is now starting to get incorporated into the offense a lot better down the stretch. He's learning the playbook a lot more, and they're getting him more involved. The only beef I have with the Saints wide receiver core is, outside of Michael Thomas, who's really good? I really ask that question. Other than Jared Cook, who's looked okay. On the outside, and the thing about Michael Thomas, we know how good Michael Thomas is. But the one thing Michael Thomas does not do is he's not a guy that people worry about running past him. Now, Michael Thomas is a capable deep threat wide receiver, but the Saints, they don't get cheap, easy touchdowns over the top. They lack a speedy wide receiver that takes a top off a defense, that keeps safeties accountable, that just is a threat to burn someone, to get past a quarterback or a safety. They don't have that difference maker, and that's a problem, because it's one thing to continuously go to Michael Thomas as far as, because the thing about Michael Thomas is he's a possession wide receiver, and he's really, really good. But if you take away Michael Thomas, who else can beat you? Ted Ginn Jr.? Really? Ted Ginn Jr.? No, I'm not worried about Ted Ginn Jr. Traquan Smith? Really? No. And so, I know the Saints, everyone wants to point to that blown call last year that went in the Rams' favor. And I get it. That's really ultimately what probably cost the Saints. But you also have to take into account that the Saints did not challenge the Rams deep in that game. Their wide receiver core really, really disappointed Drew Brees. Michael Thomas got shut down by Marcus Peters and Aqib Talib. And guess what? Because Michael Thomas got shut down, that Saints offense got shut down. And Traquan Smith and Ted Ginn Jr., they were nowhere to be found. Drew Brees was consistently checking the ball down to Alvin Kamara and the running backs, and they could not move the football. So that's the one really glaring weakness for the Saints. They really needed to, in my opinion, go after Emmanuel Sanders or AJ Green at the trade deadline. And they didn't do it. And that's going to be a problem potentially down the road. But again, it bothers me that Alvin Kamara, a running back, is second on the team in catches. That's a problem to me, okay? They need to get that fixed, but when they're on schedule, when they have a lead, when they can run the football, when Michael Thomas is getting open, this team is hard to stop. This is a good offense, no doubt. I'm not saying the offense is bad, but this offense can be shut down if you have the personnel, okay? And when we look at what the Saints have done this year, okay, they've beaten Deshaun Watson and the Houston Texans. That was a great, amazing victory. It was arguably maybe the game of the year, okay? It was a great game. They beat Seattle, at Seattle, without Drew Brees. They laid hands on Russell Wilson without Drew Brees. That's impressive. They beat the Dallas Cowboys on the road, okay? I will say that a struggling Dallas Cowboys defense shut down the Saints offense. The Saints did not score a touchdown, but the Saints defense was able to come through and beat the Cowboys. So that was pretty key. I'll give them a semi-pass for that just because Drew Brees was hurt. At Chicago is starting to pick up some heat, okay? Pick up some steam. I should say Chicago is not a terrible team. They won at Chicago without Drew Brees. They beat the Carolina Panthers. And outside of Kyle Allen, who's holding that team back, the Panthers are a really good football team. Now, they did lose at the Rams. I'm not going to blame them too much for that just because the Rams, to me, they're still a solid football team as bad as their offenses look this year, okay? And it was on the road. But they also lost to the Atlanta Falcons at home, which was not a great look. The Falcons are not a great team, okay? So, we've evaluated the Saints as a team. We've seen what they've done. Is Drew Brees going to get that second Super Bowl? And I will say this. If the Saints were to get the 1 seed in the NFC, they should be the favorite, okay? They should be the favorite. It will take an Aaron Rodgers being spectacular performance to knock this team off. It will take Russell Wilson playing out of his mind to knock the Saints off in New Orleans. It will take a hellacious performance by the 49ers defense to knock the Saints off in the postseason if they get the 1 seed, okay? However, I don't think the Saints get it. I don't. I really don't. It's crazy. And you know, last year, I really thought that Saints team was really good. I felt that if they got to the Super Bowl, they would have beaten Tom Brady and the Patriots. I got a sense, and I felt a sense of dominance from the Saints a year ago. This year, I just don't see and feel that same dominance from this team when I watch them play. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's just my opinion. I believe when we look at the standings, the 49ers, the Saints, the Packers, and Seattle, those are the 4 teams that are battling it out, in my opinion, for the top 2 seeds. Now, Green Bay has a pretty easy road, okay? Now, they do have to play at Minnesota. Minnesota is a very tough team that can give Green Bay some problems. I'm going to guess, at worst, Green Bay finishes 12-4, okay? The 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks. Both teams have a chance to win 13 games, okay? The Saints get the 49ers at home. If the Saints win that game, that might lock up the 1 seed for them right there. However, I don't think the Saints beat the 49ers, even though the Saints are at home. It's in the regular season. I know this, but again, I think the 49ers are a bad matchup for the Saints. I really do. And I really do firmly believe that if Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson are on their A game, they can knock off the Saints team. And the undoing for the Saints is, I got questions about the offense. I do. They just don't threaten anyone deep. And if the Saints are to get down early in the game, that dink and dunk stuff that Drew Brees is showing you, Drew Brees not consistently always throwing the football down the field. It's not that Drew Brees can't do it, but you saw at the end of last year, Drew Brees was not great throwing the football down the field consistently. He can still do it, and I do firmly believe that Drew Brees being hurt for 5 or 6 weeks or 7 weeks in the season is actually going to make him fresher down the stretch, because I think Drew Brees was fatigued at the end of the year. Drew Brees is old, guys, okay? But I have a feeling that if Russell Wilson sees this team again, he'll beat them. I have a feeling if Aaron Rodgers is on his A game, he'll beat this team. And I feel like the Saints, I feel like they peaked. And I think the 49ers are a bad matchup for the Saints, because Richard Sherman, he could take away Michael Thomas. And once you take away Michael Thomas, oh, it's over. If Michael Thomas gets hurt, God forbid, this team is not going anywhere, okay? So if you take away Michael Thomas, the 49ers defensive line, they can shut down Alvin Kamara. They can get after Drew Brees. And Drew Brees did not look good versus a vaunted Falcons defense a couple weeks ago. I know Drew Brees resurrected himself this past game versus the Falcons, but even then, it's not like Drew Brees was dominating versus the Falcons. And so, between the Saints' remaining schedule, I believe they're going to lose to the 49ers, and I believe they will lose at the Panthers. I feel like if the Saints are going to get that 1 seed, they need to go 13-3. And I believe down the stretch between the 49ers game, the Colts game, both being home games, at Tennessee, and at the Panthers, I see the Saints going 2-2 in those stretch of games. I see a situation where they could beat the 49ers, but then after a big emotional win, they could come down to earth versus a very, desperate Colts team, and they could lose. I can see a situation where they could lose at Tennessee, and maybe they'll beat Kyle Allen and the Panthers. But again, the Panthers really gave the Saints fits in New Orleans. If I had to bet money, I believe the Saints are going to lose at Carolina. So, bottom line, my theory is, I believe that if I had to just forecast right now, I believe that Seattle or San Francisco will probably get the 1 seed. And I think Green Bay has a shot to get a 2 seed as well. And if New Orleans is in Green Bay in January, there's no way Aaron Rodgers is losing. Because Drew Brees, he's not been a great road quarterback in the playoffs. So, that's my thing with the Saints. I would not be shocked if the Saints win the Super Bowl. I thought the first, 5-6 weeks of the season, I felt that the Saints were almost locks to win the Super Bowl. But then I saw the Ravens. Then I saw the 49ers continue to dominate. I've seen Aaron Rodgers look pretty good at times. I've seen Russell Wilson elevate his play. Russell Wilson and this team, they added Josh Gordon. If Russell Wilson is on his A game, I gotta tell you right now, he's a better quarterback than Drew Brees. Right now, Russell Wilson is a better quarterback than Drew Brees. Russell Wilson right now is the best quarterback in football to me. He's playing that special. And now he's got Josh Gordon to add to the team. Now this team is going to learn from that Saints loss. They got DK Metcalf. They got Tyler Lockett. They got some weapons. Chris Carson's pretty good. Aaron Rodgers. I believe that if Aaron Rodgers goes into the mode that he went into in 2016, no one can touch him. So that's the bottom line for the Saints. I think they're a really good team. I think they'll come close, but I think they peaked at times. I think they peaked this season. I think the Saints are a good team. They're going to win a playoff game potentially, but I don't see the Saints and Drew Brees winning a Super Bowl this year. And ultimately, it's due to my questions about the offense and them not having a deep threat at wide receiver. They desperately need a deep threat, and they don't have it. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me where I'm right. Tell me where I'm wrong. Love to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this video today. Be sure to smash this like button right now if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to my channel if you're new as well. I do post a ton of great sports videos weekly and almost every single day if I can. A fun fact about me is I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world. I want to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. Kind of like Colin Cowherd, Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharp. You get the point. Okay, I want to do sports, television, and radio for a full living once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I currently am a freshman there right now. So the best thing you guys can do to just help me continue to grow as a young broadcaster is to just share this channel with all your friends, because potentially if this channel really gets somewhere, I want to start my own network, okay? Or potentially if it doesn't, or if I fall a little bit short, I want to go into a big time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. So the best thing you guys can do to just flat out just help me grow as a broadcaster, help me learn, get other people hip to this channel, just share this channel with all your friends, share this channel on Facebook, share it on Twitter, share it on Instagram, all that good stuff. Also, be sure to follow me on all my social media platforms. And once again, guys, just share this channel with everyone you know. Get everyone hipped and watching these videos. Get my voice out there and heard. Share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter, share it on Instagram, all that good stuff. It's been your boy, Ghiman Mckinney, or you can just call me Juice. I appreciate all you guys for tuning in today. I really do. Have a God blessed day. Stay motivated, you guys, and I'm out.